we can use AI in two ways. The first one, the way which will make you dumb and will actually makes you lazy and not think. And this first way. Correct my text, I'll take a text, and that's it. The second one is when we use AI actually to go to this awareness, to go to the meta level.
Yeah. Hi all, welcome to our podcast, The Pommes Box. Today, we are having a truly inspiring person. She's originally from Ukraine. Currently, she's in Germany. She learned the language herself, completed her PhD here, and now became a German citizen.
Yes, she speaks 5 languages and has over 15 years of experience in teaching. And she is a German examiner and also trains German teachers, especially on how to use AI in language learning.
From becoming a learner to being an expert in the system, her story is really inspiring and a true picture of how integration can really look like.
Tarina, we are really excited to have you here on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you,
Tarina.
Shilpa. Thank you, Sahim. Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's very honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure. So you have been like learning languages also, right? As I said before in the intro, 5 languages. It's not an easy deal. And when you started learning German, what was the most thing that interested you or you felt like surprising when you were learning German? How was it different from other languages?
I started to learn German back in Ukraine when I was 6 years old, and I learned German in a school. But the funny thing, maybe I'll speak a bit of my story. The funny thing was that we learned in school just to speak and actually even to cheat, not to speak. So when I was going to some exam, my teacher was saying to me, if you make a mistake in some word, for example, let's say Arzt and your mom is Ärztin, which is a mistake, or you could make a mistake because it's a umlaut. So you can say in an exam that your mom is a teacher because Lehrerin, it's a very nice word. You know it in an A1. And then you don't have to worry about that. So I actually learned to cheat. I was always speaking about something, but the topics were always the same. When later I decided to study translations, I understood that I cannot actually say teacher if someone says I am a doctor. And I needed to relearn everything. I didn't have any base, I didn't have any grammar base, and I really had to break everything what I learned and some of the patterns that were very, very difficult and learn them in a new way. So I would say that was the best time when I actually got my German right. Yeah. So the things that surprised me in German and the things that I am surprising today my students are about that the German language is very logical. It is logical when you actually understand the logic. So, for example, if we learn articles, if we learn der, die, das, and then we know those, and if we learn and understand accusative and dative, we can build on that the indefinite article, which is eine. And then we can also build on that mein, sein, dein, and everything what is possessive pronoun, which looks like ein. On top of that, you can actually build kein. And then if you know that very well, you can build the adjective declination. And you can know adjective declination, which is one of the most important and actually one of the most complicated grammar topics in German. When my students come to me, they say that this is one of the most complicated. I always say to them, it's so logical, it's so good, but you have to know the article. So for me, the surprised thing in German language is that if you know the base, if your base is very good, then your B1, C1, your upper levels are also very good. But if you lack of those, then you actually lack the pattern of these logical things. And then you say, okay, German is very complicated. So this is one of my things that I always try to show my students in my classes. And always when I start with the grammar, I always say, well, today we're going to learn some very, very complicated grammar, but it's so easy. I'm going to show you. So this is what I do.
It's
Great.
interesting.
So very nice to have a teacher like that who makes things easier and maybe less scared of, especially with a language like German.
Exactly. If I may say something into that, I really I struggled with German. So in my classes, I really try to do it so simple. I am like a fan of German and fan of just sitting there and trying to understand, okay, how can I make it even easier? How can I make it even better? How can I understand it logical? Because back when I was learning, I had also some teachers, and those teachers were very good. And some teachers were always telling to me, you're gonna know it one day. But I was so interested. I was like, I want to know it now. I want to have it. So this is what I try to do in my classes, that if I have those kind of students, they get it very simple, very in small pieces, so they also get it.
And so, Darina, we have seen your journey. Like you started as someone who is learning the language, as you mentioned now, then to German trainer, examiner, and later who is someone who is training teachers in studying or in learning German. Yeah. How was this journey? How was this transformation from someone who is learning to someone who is teaching teachers?
I have two stories here. The first story is I actually never thought I will be a teacher. I hated it. I said I'm gonna study translations because I'm gonna never be a teacher. And that's very interesting because today I think I cannot imagine my life without teaching and without showing to people and showing to my students that German is actually a cool language and you can be successful in German. And that transformation actually happened when I was a student and I had a friend and he was just learning German and he was in a level A1. And after a semester, he had an exam. And then he said to me, well, Darina, I think I'm gonna not make it because I have no idea what German is. And I didn't learn anything. And I think I'm gonna fail. And then he said that everything what we can take to the exam is only a vocabulary. I said to him, I'm going to show you in 2 hours how you can use that vocabulary actually to pass your exam. And that was when I first explained to someone. I showed him some tricks in a vocabulary. What can he do? How can he do it? And so on. And then he said to me, within these 2 hours, I learned more than in my semester. And you are a great teacher. And that was the first time for me when I had this feeling, wow, I can explain, I can actually make someone like German and believe that he can pass. And he actually passed his exam. He got his grade and that was win-win. And that was the first time when I understood, okay, I'm going to start the journey of being a teacher. The second one, the journey from being a teacher to being a trainer for trainers, I always dreamed of that. I always thought that at some point I would like to share my ideas. I would like to share how I actually teach, how different methods I have because of the background of being a translator of simultaneous translation and the consecutive translation. I have a different methods. I have a different strategies. I also share those in my videos on my channel. And I thought I really would like to teach teachers. And 2023, I got first in touch with AI and I got to know what is ChatGPT. And that was for me so interesting. I was like thinking, wow, I'm going to use this in my classes. And I started to have these great ideas. How can I implement that? For example, especially in the trainings for exams for preparations, because when we prepare our students to exams, then we have some books, but those books are limited. Let's say listening, you have only 2, 3 exercises and that's it. And sometimes, or most of the times now, by being examiner, I also know it. Most of the times we have texts like weather, something about weather, or maybe traffic notifications, and those are very difficult for students. So it is a good thing to train those before. And AI was, for me, was a method to do that. So I could take the video from a YouTube, make different stuff, make different exercises, and train those types of readings, those types of listening. So that was for me the thing that I was thinking, okay, AI will actually give me more possibilities. Or the second idea came to me when my students came with the problem that they don't speak with anyone. They said, I am actually in a dormitory. I'm alone. I have no partner and I have no time. I also have my family and I don't have any possibilities just to go out to some coffee with some other student and practice. So that made me to think and to realize my students have to have something how they can speak at home, especially because I think the dialogue in an exam, it's not just language and speech that you can do, that you have to do. It's also just a skill of having ideas, what to say, a skill just to speak. And maybe someone is an introvert and they don't like to speak. So that was when I actually started to make the prompts for dialogues, and we trained those in classes with my students and then back home. And then I saw, okay, actually that works. So I use AI not as something which can replace me, because I think AI cannot replace human intelligence, but I use it as a method, as a something that I can add and something that I can do for my students. And from that point, when I started to go to different workshops and I started to visit those, I understood that the workshops, when I was attending those, they stay on a basic level for beginners, for teachers, beginners also. They show, okay, there is ChatGPT and you can use ChatGPT, you can make a prompt here, but they don't go deeper. And that was what I was thinking about. Okay, I'm going to change that. I want to show different exercises, different methods, and also ideas for teachers. How can they implement that? And this is how I came to teach trainers. And I've done, in a last year, I've done 36 workshops. And within those, 50% were only on AI for teachers, how to make AI happen in a class and how actually teachers can apply AI.
Brilliant.
That's
I
an
mean,
amazing journey there. Yeah. It's very common nowadays, people use AI, and it's nice to see that you're putting a lot of effort in there to get it into the teaching and make it more useful for students like us.
I mean, I also loved your story very much. The way you started from teaching a student, right, to pass the exams. There is a similar story in India as well. Something called Khan Academy. Khan Academy also started something like explaining to one of his friends, and he told like go online, and he became a big thing nowadays. And second part, AI as well. I also saw your video on ChatGPT and how to use the tools, ChatGPT and TurboScribe and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, yes. That was an amazing video, first of all. The prompts that I saw, it's not a simple prompt because you covered multiple things, and I see like you have been also working on your prompts because it never, uh, because a beginner, right, and an unfinger can never go and just type one prompt and get the right thing. And you also mentioned like every time ChatGPT can give different solution for the same question that you ask, right? So you have to set boundaries, keep the instructions very clear, and I definitely saw that in your prompts. And another challenge that I also see is AI is new and so many are afraid, and it's a huge power, I understand, but a lot of them doesn't know how to use that power, and they also fear, as you said, they might replace the teacher. So some teachers are even skeptical. Okay, should I use this? Will I lose my job? Right.
Yes.
So, right.
Yes.
These kind of things. And I guess whatever you're doing is amazing because you're trying to take that fear away from the teachers, and this is a new field and they don't have this knowledge, so definitely training them with this knowledge will be brilliant, because with some other teachers we saw like not everybody are using this AI, but yeah, using it can be really beneficial if you know how to use it in the right way, right? Because you can simply go there, waste your time, and not take any output from that. Because I also saw that you create the tables in your output so that you see what you said, what was wrong, right? And also get the
Exactly.
grammatic, word charts, everything. So brilliant. Nice to hear that story. And we hope to see in Germany more teachers using this superpower that they have learned. because
Yes.
Germany is a country where they are not so open to tech. They're not so open to digital content creation. And yes, we need more people like you.
That's very good that you mentioned that because German teachers are also very traditional. Exactly. They are afraid to get in touch with AI. It is everywhere and we cannot avoid it. And when I teach trainers and teachers, I usually say we might not always use it, but if you don't know what is it, then you lose the authority in a class. Because if someone comes to me and say, oh, I did this with ChatGPT and can you help me? Or can you somehow give me some ideas? How can I use it more and deeper? And if the teacher doesn't know, then students usually will say, okay, next time I'm not going to this teacher. I'm not going to ask them. And that's why I think it's so important that teachers are also inside of that. The second thing is, of course, the data and how can we be sure that the data are not leaking and all of that. And this is the very big part also of the trainings. The good things is that today we have a lot of different developments and there are also tools which are datenschutzkonform, so tools that are actually say that they are good and they don't use your data. So I think these are two parts that are very important for teachers. And I think also there is the third part is that a lot of teachers who are a little bit older, they are afraid in terms of, okay, this is a whole new thing. And now, after being an expert in my field, I have to be an expert also in this. And I don't know how to use it, or I'm not actually very familiar with digital world. So this is also what stops teachers. But I have a lot of teachers who are attending my workshops and the interest is there. So they are also willing to learn. And the cool thing is when a teacher works together with AI, then we understand that we actually can make it more beneficial. I had one time a very interesting question, which was once teacher asked me, Darina, why would you actually do an exercise or an Arbeitsblatt for students? Why would you do it with AI if you actually can type it? And I did say that the thing is not about that I cannot type it. The thing is when I use AI, I actually speed up myself. And if I know how to speed up my processes like typing, then I can also invest more time into speaking with my students. If I, for example, correct text with my students with AI, or they bring me tables with AI, I use the time to speak about the problems. We use the time to go deeper. So we actually cut the time about reading texts through and me going through every single possibility. We go more into the meta level where actually they have to put a little bit of thought why I did that mistake. Or, for example, sometimes AI, of course, AI makes mistakes and AI can also rewrite a sentence which was right. So in that case, we also discuss and we see and analyze, okay, why did AI rewrote it? Or we also try to analyze, can I say it in two ways? And sometimes a lot of students are like that. They dig deeper and they come to me and they say, well, I think this was right. And now I have this sentence. And it's really cool because that's what I said, like it puts them on this meta level, it puts them on a level to analyze as a teacher, and they start to learn deeper. They start to learn much more aware. They start to be aware of, okay, I always do a mistake, this and this mistake. Let's say last time when I did this exercise just a few weeks ago, most of the students came to me with addictive declination. And then we started to go deeper into addictive declination. It means I didn't have to go through of course, I can go through every text and so on. But instead of that, we actually got into why do I know theoretically addictive declination, but I don't put it in my text. And this is how AI actually develops the lesson if you put it in the right way.
So you're definitely finding a lot of nice use cases and yeah, also putting these students on a meta level, right? That's like also saving you a lot of time and helping to reach them that level very faster. And Also, when you have a very good knowledge about the language because of your experience, the way you can ask questions changes because how you think that will be on a different level, and that will be an input to the AI, and the output will be totally different from somebody. Yes. So, so surprised and amazed at the same time.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yesterday he was so happy. Like we were looking into the video where you made about this AI and the prompting and all. Like he also does this, and in
Yes.
fact he helps me with configuring and prompting
Mm.
for me for ChatGPT to speak in German and things. And
Yes.
when he saw your video, he was like so happy. He's like, she's really doing a nice work. The prompts are really nice, and he was appreciating it a lot, which made me think like, okay, it's it's very nice. Then if he's telling this much.
Yes.
Thank you. That's the best feedback I can get. Yeah. If my prompts help you and it help others, that's the best what I can expect. Thank you.
I also had one feedback there. You use the prompts, right? I was thinking, have you tried using the GPT in ChatGPT?
You
There is
mean the
something called
customed?
the custom ones. Do you also use it?
Yes. I use it, but for example, I use it for me because I have the pro version. But
Okay.
I don't, when I use something with my students, I always give them the prompts
Prompts. Okay.
because students, I cannot, I
Yes.
always
Yes.
say also for teachers, I say, don't buy ChatGPT. It's a it's not an advertisement, but don't buy until you know that you
Yeah.
are actually going to use it and then that
Yeah.
you are actually come to a limit. But I do use GPTs also
GPTs.
for
Mm.
different reasons.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just easier to get into the
Yes.
chat because today ChatGPT has this cool feature which is it remembers, and I
Mhm.
use that. I also use sometimes something which called like a system prompts. After
Okay.
I created a big prompt, then I do the system prompt. I just ask ChatGPT to write to me a prompt. It's like write me a prompt which I can use so it
Ah.
leads to this
Yes.
result. The only one thing that I found out is when you also make too much, too narrow, then ChatGPT gets confused. But I do use those. I also use those. The best way is maybe just as a small thing for someone who doesn't know. I'm sure,
Mm.
Sahin, you know it because you already work with AI, but maybe for Shilpa, is when you go to GPT or ChatGPT, you always can ask. You can say, I wanted you to do this and this for me. Please ask me the questions that you need to know about that
Mm.
so you can make it for me. And it's the best way for people who has no AI levels. Yeah,
Yes.
just ask. Yeah, and then you will see so many questions that you will think, oh wow,
Right.
actually I could say this and this, or I need to tell this and this. I ChatGPT or GPT has to know about that and that. Yeah, so this is one of the best ways.
Yes, that's true. Like always asking questions, right? Because sometimes when we type, we only think like too narrow, but when we get the question, oh, nice, we could have thought that way. Yes.
Yes, yes. That happens on one of the teachers in one of the trainings when I said to her, okay, just ask. And then she got this question. She said, wow, it asked me also actually how many students I have, which I never came to the idea to tell. So to make the exercise or the game right, yeah, like students, the background of the students and so on. So these are very cool things. And I think we also can learn a lot about prompting when we actually ask GPT or ChatGPT to tell us what to tell to the system, to the tool.
Cool.
That's nice.
So you're really into this. Good to know.
Yes, yes. I'm working on a guide actually. I'm working on a guide for teachers and I'm working on a small book which I want to put out there and give something that is very clear, very nice and very into the exactly into the thing. Yes, like less of the just going around, less of the what can ChatGPT do or GPTs in general, but more into the topic. Okay, you can use this and this. Let's say you can make a dialogue. This is the way. You can make a listening exercise. This is the way. So this is kind of my approach. As I said, more into the
Yeah.
very particular thing and a particular problem instead of making a lot of possibilities of AI.
That's a really good idea because in Germany, people buy books, and they also, especially when the learning materials and coming from a teacher, if it get officially recognized, then it can be also a future learning material. That's an amazing idea. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my mission. Thank you.
One last thing, the ChatGPT has a smaller version. It's called ChatGPT Go for, I don't know. Earlier it was 21 euros around. The ChatGPT Go is around 8 to 9 euros if somebody wants to try. Yes. And as a German examiner, right? What are the biggest mistake that you see that people make in language exams regularly? And can you also tell us like how this could be avoided?
So I will try to say 4 problems. The first problem is the reading. A lot of people underestimate reading. A lot of people think that reading is a passive language, so I'm gonna do it. So no one is preparing very honest with the reading. And I would say a lot of people actually get less points on reading. Even I did that. I lost my points when I was doing back my C1. I lost the most points on reading. There weren't so many points, but there was only reading. And I was thinking, oh no, how could I do it? And it's really, really important because there are texts and we have to read text just to get to know how texts are, what are the exercises. The second one is the preparation. The preparation is 80% of success. You have to know what is to expect. What do you do in a part reading, part 1, 2, and 3? Because that takes the whole stress away. When we start the exam, we always explain how the exam will be going. And a lot of students, if they don't know that up front, they start to get stressed because now there is a lot of input. 20 minutes, we're just telling, okay, part 1, part 2, part 3. After that, you go away, you come back, and so on. And actually, this all information is there outside. So just prepare yourself, prepare to how many times am I listening? Part 1, 2 times or 1 time, part 2, 1 time, maybe part 3, and so on. So this will take a lot of pressure off and you know what to expect. The same is with, let's say, preparation for writing. A lot of people have problems with writing. And I always say, you don't have to write a novel there. You have to know that you actually have to write very much into the points because there is always an exercise and there are 4 points. And if you opened all the points, then you got your notes and you got your actual points. And the most important thing is as well, you learn the beginning and you learn the ending. So it's always official and unofficial beginning. Sehr geehrter Herr, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren oder sehr geehrte Frau. Or you learn, and then after that, the ending would be mit freundlichen Grüßen. Or you learn liebe, lieber, and then liebe Grüße. And that's it. And you don't learn for the life, of course, we have 5, 6 of endings, of beginnings, but for the exam, you need to know only 2. So don't upload too much into your head to actually, after that, be just confused and don't know what to use. The same is also with another part. And the third one is preparation for a day. When I prepare my students, I usually ask them, what are you going to wear? What are you going to take with you? It's a lot of pressure and it's a long day. What are you going to eat? You need to eat. Are you taking water with you? Take enough water. Are you taking a chocolate with you so the level of sugar will be there so you don't fall asleep? And all these things, because this is one of the things that is really underestimated. If you don't feel well on a day, it doesn't matter how good you can speak German. If you don't feel well, if you have headache, or let's say some of the people also have to prepare themselves to be all the time distracted. A lot of people are very sensitive. So when we write something during the preparation for exam in my class, I usually make noises. I'm like doing something like just, I don't know, maybe do something with my glass. So they actually get distracted because a lot of people, when they are deep in the thoughts and they hear something, they like, oh no, I'm out of my thoughts and now I have to put it back together. And this is very important because during writing and during reading, a lot of people want to go to the toilet. And when people go to the toilet, it's always get up, the teacher comes there. It's always some of the noise. So you need to prepare for all of these parts. So this is a very important part for me in the preparation for my exam, because the videos about how to prepare listening, reading, and so on, exactly the parts, you can find it everywhere. But this stuff, for example, are also the stuff that I'm teaching in my workshops. I'm teaching teachers to think about that and so on. So these are very, very important things. And the fourth thing is probably the fear of dialogue, or the fear if I speak with someone in the third part of the speaking part. Usually it's a dialogue, or usually it's a discussion. In a B1 level, it's usually mostly we plan something together. In a C1 level, we discuss pros and contras. Everyone gets their points and we need to come to some kind of solution. In this case, also, I would say people prepare only very clear things, like, for example, how to do the how to do a proposal for something and how to react on proposal. But very important is we need to prepare a little bit different. So if you are in a exam, you usually confront with three types of people, because people react different in a stress situation. So the first one is you have to be prepared that your partner can be stressed and speak too much. Mostly these are the panic people. The panic people who always think, oh my God, if I don't say too much, if I don't speak, I will not get my points. So they, not because they don't like you, but because they are afraid that they don't get it right, they start just to talk. And I had that kind of partner in my in my exam. And it's very interesting because you have to find the methods and you have to find a language skills to actually come into the speech of the other person. So you need to learn something like, Entschuldigung, kann ich etwas sagen? Yeah, can I say something? Oder Entschuldigung, ich muss dich unterbrechen. I have to say something, and so on. So all of this stuff. The second type of people is the people who are, when they are afraid, they don't speak. This is usually happens when you have someone who is better and someone who is less good in language, or maybe an introvert. And in this case, when this introvert is hearing, that is such a good partner, so they start to actually get inside of them and they don't answer. Or if it's actually also on a DTZ Prüfung, it's usually A2 level with B1. A2 level will not speak. And here is the problem for B1 person, because now you have to react. You have to ask, hast du mich verstanden? Or sometimes also people go into wrong direction. And you need to say, wir sind vom Thema abgewichen. Yeah, it's like we are got into wrong direction. So the problem is here that this person who is B1 has to speak and has to actually get the partner to the level. Because usually the B1s, they start to also get nervous and then they go to the level of A2 and then they get less results. And the third person is someone who speaks not clearly. They do speak, but maybe the accent is for you so different. Let's say if someone from Ukraine meets someone from Africa, these are two different language systems, and people might not understand those. Not even the person from Ukraine, the person from Africa, also vice versa, because people from Slavic languages, they speak a lot of r, and this r sometimes in a language is too much. And then you think, oh my God, how many times that person said r, and then you forgot what the person said. Or on the other side, let's say Afghanistan with someone from USA. Yeah, so also very, very different. And in this case, you also have to know something like, kannst du bitte wiederholen? Ich habe dich nicht verstanden. Kannst du klarer sprechen? Or my favorite one is, and this works with everyone, even with us examiners, if you don't understand something or you don't know if you understood the question, I love this question. It's, meinst du das? that gives you, even if the examiner at the beginning asks you something and you don't know, and you need like 2 seconds just to make dots, and 2 seconds also to think about your idea. What will you answer? Then you can say, Entschuldigung, wie meinen Sie das? And then the person will start to explain, and you will start to have time to have ideas to answer. So these are the things that I would say are one of the most important. There are so many, and of course, in my classes and in my trainings, we do those, but these are the ones that people don't speak about, the ones that I know that I am the person who is actually paying attention to that. Maybe because also I was a student, I was someone who did the exams, I'm someone today who is taking exams, and I also have these two perspectives.
That was really insightful for us. Like,
Yes.
I think this is the first time even I am hearing from an examiner perspective, because I've never got a chance to speak to one of them. So that gives us a lot of idea. I think this 2 minutes of what you told us gives us a lot of information of how or what I need to do when I go for my next exams. What should be the not to do things, what should be the do things. Yeah, that was really insightful, Darina.
Thank you. I'm happy. If you have one takeaway, that's my win.
Definitely, yes. So, if you were a B1 student today, yeah, now that you have worked a lot with AI, what is that exact thing which you would use AI for to improve your German every week? Suppose if you are a B1 student at the moment.
Yeah, as Sahin already said, I have a lot of videos for that, and I have a lot of videos how you can use AI. But just to make it nice and clear, I would say two things how I would use AI. The first one, when I write texts, I would use my prompt that I give on my video, which is I would ask AI. Usually, what people do, they take the text, say, this is my text, correct it. The AI corrects it, and then I take the text. I'm happy if I understood a bit of those, and I just write it down. And then I'm usually also my students, when they come to me on a levels A2, and then I read the text, and sometimes I don't read a name, but I just read things. I read a sentence and I say like, wow, this is B1. Whoa, this is C2. This is so cool. Yeah. And people, of course, understand that I see that they wrote it not alone with AI. And usually it's very also interesting how they ask me, how do you know that? Yeah. And I say, well, 15 years of teaching, I do know what A2 should know and what C1 should know. And in that case, I usually also say to my students, we can use AI in two ways. The first one, the way which will makes you dumb and will actually makes you lazy and not think. And this is this first way. Correct my text, I'll take a text, and that's it. The second one is when we use AI actually to go to this awareness, to go to the meta level. And this is the way when I say it with the prompt about correct my text, stay close to my text, and write me after that my mistake, your correction, your proposal, and the level on which is it. Because when I know later with the level, let's see, I'm a B1 level, and if I see that AI corrected it and wrote it down A2, let's say it's maybe perfect. I used perfect wrong. So I know, okay, this topic is something that I had to know, that I already learned, and I just need to repeat. And now I have to go back, one step back, to get my perfect right, so I actually can get better. If I see in a text, and this is very important, that's why this table is so important, because if I am B1 and I see that AI wrote to me C1 level, that means that it's still too early for me. And I can also just a little bit take off the pressure and say to myself, it's okay that I didn't know that. Because usually students have too much pressure. We always think about, oh my God, how can I get better? And then when I am better, I'm thinking, oh no, I'm so worse than I was. I need to get more better. So in this case, I would use AI usually for that. I would also use AI, for example, in dialogues. And a lot of people write to me back, AI is doing mistakes and we have to be cautious about that. And I said, yes, But the thing is, for me to speak to AI, it's not about AI actually correcting me, and it's not about me listening what mistakes AI is doing. It's about to get into free speech and to see which mistakes am I doing during my free speech. Because if I talk to AI in a dialogue along, let's say 5 minutes, then I have a material to work on. Then I have something, because after that, AI can just make a script. Yeah, what did we say? So I say to AI, first of all, don't correct me. Don't say anything that I said something wrong. Let's just get rolling. So I speak and speak and speak, so I get the material. And after that, I ask AI, now analyze. And now I can understand, okay, for example, in the same table, I can see that I do mistakes in accusative. And maybe I know accusative in general, in theoretical parts, but when I speak, because my thoughts are so fast and I actually have to think about a lot of things, so I forget about accusative. So this is the way when I can actually just have a material of my free speaking, of my just, let's say, putting thoughts together without preparation, and then analyze, okay, when I speak without preparation, I do this and this and this mistake, and then I can work on that. So this is the way that I would use AI. I also use AI with my languages. I started my next language, so I am very excited to see when it's going to go. For example, you can use AI to make for you Quizlet cards. Quizlet is the tool that is also just for German, for learners, for any language learners. And I love this tool because it's cards. It's different cards. I usually do cards also with hands because I love writing. I think we need to write a lot with our hand, and it's also kind of memory. But I use it also with the Quizlet because it's also everywhere. Let's say if I go traveling somewhere or I need to go somewhere for a business trip, then I have my cards always with me. And AI can do it. ChatGPT can make us lists. The only one thing is that a lot of students don't understand that AI can speed us up, but the hard work we have to do, which means AI can create for me. I made a prompt, so AI makes for me the one side is the word and another side is just explanation of the word, and I can just flip those. But to learn the vocabulary, I have to learn. And this is, I think, what a lot of students have to understand. To create cards, you will be so successful with AI and very fast, but you need to put time into learning it. So this is the way how I use AI. And again, just coming back to this, that it's speeding me up, but it's not doing the hard work. It's not doing the learning process. It's not doing the time, like it's not doing the hard work of actually writing down the text with no help before that. It's not doing the hard work for me actually to start to think about, okay, for example, my problem is I can speak, but I don't have ideas. And in this case, I have to just press on a chat GPT and start to speak. And this is hard. And a lot of people say, AI is not helping me because I have nothing to say. And this is exactly where we say, okay, I use AI to find something to say. I use AI because this is my problem, and then I analyze it. Yeah. So these are some ways. I hope that's one of the way. It's of course not everything, but all of other stuff, some of those I have also in my videos.
That's
Yes.
great. That's great.
I'm like
Yeah.
mind blown. Yes, I understood everything you said. It was a really insightful take on the AI German culture. What are the three things that every international should focus in their first 0 to 3 years to truly integrate in Germany? Because when they first come, everything is cultural shock, and things are different in their country. It's different here. So, do you have some recommendations there?
Yeah, I would say three things would be, the first one is be curious, open, ask questions. And this is what a lot of students and people don't do. They think if I will ask German people something, I'm going to be dumb in this whole situation. And I always was curious, and I always had people who are so open because when you ask some German about their culture and when you ask them about that you don't know, they're so happy to tell you. They're so nice as well. And they do understand if you are open, they are also will be open to you. And I got a lot of things about culture, about why this works like that. Also later about pricing. How do I price my classes? How do I actually have to get as a teacher? Like, what is a good price? Because I came from Ukraine, where even today some of the teacher probably have €5, €10 per class, which is not German prices. So you will get to know that only if you are curious, only if you are open, only if you ask why it's that. If you have maybe even some connections, or let's say you go somewhere and you have some German friend or you have some German students in a class, just ask them, what do people bring to this meeting? Do we bring anything? Do we have to do this and this? Like, what do we have to do? And it's so cool because people are really open and they will know that, oh, wow, this guy or this girl is really interested. I'm going to help them. The second one is to get out of the comfort zone. It's one of my best sentences that I always say in every class. Get out of your comfort zone, especially when you don't want to go there. Let's say a party, even an international party. It doesn't have to be only German, German, German. It can be just something around you, some speaking cafes, some meetings, some theaters, some cinemas, something that you actually don't do or you don't feel like doing. It's the best way just to get out there. For example, if I want to have German friends, I have to go to some Verein, to some clubs, to some sport clubs, to some stuff. And not just once, I have to go there constantly. Because if I'm gonna just appear there once in a Sprachcafé, let's say, and then after that never come back and then come back after 3 months, I'm actually not part of this Sprachcafé. So to get to know Germans, it takes time. Germans are distant, not because they are like a cold people. No, because they actually really take time to get to know each other. They are not the people who will say, oh, you look nice and so on, because they will think, well, I don't know you. Well, like, you seem nice, but it's just a nice conversation. And I really love that about German, because later, when you actually stick to sports, when you stick to, let's say, some parties or some meetings, some cultural stuff, and you will meet these people every time again, you will see that they will get warmer, they will get closer. And I have friends from 2008. We were studying together in Austria, and we still have contacts of each other. And every time when I go to Köln, and it might be 10 years after me not seeing them, I still see them. I'm still welcome in their house, and I still know, okay, these are my friends. So it takes longer to get closer to German, but it also is much more sophisticated connection when you actually have German friends. And the third one is networking. So it's all like builds up. When you go to these things, you build networking. And vitamin B, vitamin Beziehung, it's a thing in Germany. There is, like, I haven't seen in my life any corruption. I've never got paid for anything and never got any work or any position by having paid to someone. But some of the vitamin B helped me. So people actually said, Darina is good. She is a good teacher. She's a good trainer. We actually recommend her. And for example, for the recommendation, because I have a very good networking, not a system, but I'm just like a good in networking. I try to keep connection and keep always warm connections. I got my job to be a trainer in Bonn. I got my job to be a trainer in different Volkshochschulen around Berlin. We have 12 of those. So I am actually working at one, but I am always invited to some other ones. And this is very important. I also have my personal story about that and about networking. And I really hope that this story will help people, because back in Ukraine, when I was still a student and just very also curious, and I was going to all of this stuff, which is German stuff in Ukraine, which was very rare. I had one time a seminar And to this seminar, I got an invitation because some of the teachers didn't want to go there. So one of my teachers said to me, Darina, would you like to go there so you actually can participate? And then later you will tell us what is it, because we have just free place there. And I was so happy. I was like, yes, I'm gonna go. It's like the whole weekend, no worries. And the good thing was I learned a lot of stuff. It was about German and teaching German through the theater techniques. Helps me by today. I really got a lot of knowledge. And the guy who was actually doing the workshop, he was Mike Walter. And yeah, that was just the trainer and so on. 10 years later, I am applying for the Volkshochschule for my job. And before you apply, you usually make a research, like what is the institution you actually want to get into. And I look at the page and I see the director and I see the face, which is so familiar. And I was like, wow, I know this guy. Like, I know this guy. This guy was back there in Ukraine, in my small town, making this theater thing. And actually it was him. I still even have a picture of us standing there, like the whole crew of teachers, me, him. And I wrote him a message. I was like, hello, my name is Darina, and maybe you remember me from 10 years ago. You visited this town and then you made this seminar. And now I'm actually applying to your school to be a teacher at your school. And he replied to me and he was like, yeah, welcome. That's so cool. I'm going to make a message to the department, to the head of department, so that she knows that I know you. And in this case, of course, I had to go through the whole process because Volkshochschule is a very state institution. So you have to have the trial of the class. You have to show how you teach. You have to speak to them. You have to go through the different phases. But the thing was that I know someone, and actually I could put that on my CV as well. I could put that on my letter. I could say it's so happy, because usually the institutions want to know why do you apply there. So I had a think. I was like, yeah, I really would like to work with him because I know him from back 10 years and I'm still fancy him because he's such a great teacher as well. So this is how connections work. This is how networks is working. And usually when students come to me in my workshops and they do ask me, what do I have to do while I'm studying, I always say networking, go to events, get to know people, speak to people, and actually just put out there yourself, and just be open for connections.
That's
Really amazing. What is the advices? Some of them I have not heard before, but really sound advices for people who are, in the beginning stages living in Germany. And still, I guess we could also definitely use
that's
these
something what I have
advices.
to also try. Networking is something what I'm bad at. Even I don't have too many German friends, if I have to really say. So you you told all the correct points what can make it better. Yeah,
And
exactly.
we'll get more vitamin B.
Yes.
Darina, I just wanted to know, like, you're in Germany from a long time. Was there any situation where you were in a German celebration and you didn't know how to exactly respond or behave at that particular point? Did you have any oops moment there? And what are few advices which you would like to give for our audience here?
I actually, because I was so curious and because I was so much into German culture and I really wanted to know, I wanted to become German in some ways. I'm always saying I'm an expert I love Ukraine and I'm an expert for Ukrainian culture and German. But I think because I was very curious, I didn't have very much of those situations. One of the situations which is probably was the most challenging is to speak to people who are more older than me per du. So the do form, when someone is 60 years old, because in Ukraine we have a hierarchy and it's also very important that you are staying very nice to people and you cannot say do to everyone. Having that in Germany was at some points a little bit awkward. I was thinking, okay, yeah, well, and sometimes I remember I had time when I was visiting a family And they also said to me to speak du to them. And I was just avoiding it. I was just always some of the things saying around, not using any, like I started to use passive voices and not using any like do or just in general we. So that is one of the things. Very important thing in Germany is that this du and sie form, it is a very social point. So if I would speak to someone per du or someone speaks to me per du and I answer them per sie just because I want to feel as a respectful person, they would think it's a distant thing. So most of the times I know as well that the do and sie form, they show how close we are or how distant we are. And if you would from a do form go back to sie, people will also go back to sie. They will be like, oh, okay, something is wrong. Let's just go a little bit further from each other. And if they allow you to say do, and that happened, for example, for me during my PhD in Germany, my professor said to me that, oh, yeah, no problem, you can say du to me. It actually happens because she was always saying to me, Frau Rahimtullah, and for me it's like, okay, this is like so awkward. I would like to be spoken to as Darina, and I said, can you just use Darina because it's just nicer, it's less formal. And in that moment, she says to me, actually, I use do with all my students. So let's just go to I'm Sylvia and you're Darina. That's it. And that was for me, of course, this is my professor. I'm writing a PhD. Yes, I came from sehr geehrte Frau Professor to the do. That was very difficult, but it also was, of course, one of the very nice things. The other very difficult thing is not to mix it with the friendship. It's still a colleague do. It's not, we are not friends here. We are still here in a very official situation. And this is also a lot of time what happens to some of my students if they don't know this background. When we come to do, they think now we are like buddies. And then I was like, no. We are not buddies. We speak to each other in a colleague way do because I think it's nicer. And I think we all are the same. You don't have to tell to me sie when I speak to you do, but we're not friends. So this is one of the points.
This is really good. I mean, I have experienced this because I used to also go to dance classes earlier, salsa bachata, and then I used to see them again and again. In dance classes we don't talk too much. We go there, dance. But like at some point when you have to talk, you suddenly feel respectful and start saying "see," and they're like, "Why see?" I mean, you could say "do." And suddenly that transition is somewhat hard. It'll be like you are a more respectful person or you are old. But one more thing is they also feel too old when you
Yes.
say see all the time. They will be like, oh, he thinks I'm a grandpa to him. So yeah, this is a good transition. And also you also highlighted that point, right? Do doesn't mean like we are now
Friends.
good friends or things.
Yes.
This is something that they don't teach in the textbooks, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately. I had also a story when I used the do form and it was for the person inappropriate. And just because the person forgot that we actually got to the do point. And then that was as well one of the interesting things because I was back in Ukraine. I was organizing an international event and I was a manager of event. So I wrote to one of our guests and I was saying, because that was the second year that that guest was attending the event. And I just wrote to her per du. And then as an answer, she wrote to me, sehr geehrte Frau, da, da, da. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was already like a thing for me. Oh, I think she forgot who am I and that we actually come to do. And I wrote in a next email exactly that for her. I was like, sehr geehrte Frau, I'm really sorry. I think we agreed to do. That's why I used this form. And the third email came from her. She was like, oh, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, everything is fine. So this is very important thing that if you go to the, it's a really a sign what level are you in with people. And exactly when you say, for example, if you speak to people per sie, then they know straight away, oh, okay, this is like either very respectful or I'm too old or it's a distance. For example, in a business, or when you have later colleagues, when you later at work, then it's more about, oh, okay, this person doesn't want to go close to one or to each other.
Okay, so
Because I have one more interesting thing about celebrations and about what students have to be aware of when they actually attend in German
Sure,
parties.
sure.
yes, definitely.
So I have one story about what really is important in parties. And that happened to me when I first got to Austria by that time. And it was a program with the foreign students, German, Austrian, and international students. And I had a buddy there. And this buddy, he had to just escort me. I was thinking, oh, this is cool. I have someone and I can talk to him. And then he said, okay, today is an international party for everyone. And when we attend the party, it was just a bar, and the bar had just a corridor. At the beginning of the bar, he was like, "This is the party, goodbye." And then he just left. And I was thinking, okay, I'm standing here in this crowd of people. I have no idea who are all those people, and I just have to go through this corridor, and yeah, just now I'm on my own. And I never saw him again, actually. This was a buddy. He just attended me, he spent with me the whole day, and then he disappeared for the whole semester. And it's very important because on that point I understood, if I'm not going to talk to people on a parties, I'm going to be alone, just standing with my drink there, or with nothing. And this is what a lot of people and a lot of students don't do. When we go to international parties in Germany, it's me who has to approach people. It's me who has to come and say, oh, hi, I'm Darina, I'm from Ukraine, and start to speak to people. Because if we don't do it, or if we stay in our, let's say, Ukrainian groups, the Spanish groups, the Indian groups, then people will also not approach us. And German groups, yeah, they all kind of like a groups. And a lot of people in parties just expect you to be open and go to people. And this is one of the very important skills, the special skill for people who are a little bit more introvert, to get to know people. And I see that also in my parties. I had one party last year when I invited my students, a very cool group of my students, and I saw them just standing there. And exactly that, what I said to them, people will not approach you. You have to approach people. This is very, very important thing in Germany. It's what I learned. And after that, I learned everywhere just to go and say, hello, I'm Darina, and started to do conversations with people. And I think this is what will make an experience as well of celebrations and party very important. And there are also some other things, but I don't know if we have time for those things. Like there are also some different things, but also a lot of people I think are struggling if they are from a little bit warmer cultures. So if you know, I also can say it, but let me know.
I mean,
Yeah,
sure, if you have another story.
please
Yeah.
These
feel
are,
free to add.
yes, yes, very interesting ones.
So the last story would be, don't expect German people to bring any presents to any parties or your celebration or your birthday party. For German, it's very important. Germans are very respectful people. So when they attend your party, they actually show already the respect that they like you. And usually they don't give presents. Like a present is just like a bottle of wine or a bottle of something. Or usually it's just my drinks. I'm going to a party, in students' party. It's a drink that I'm taking with me. I'm bringing it, I'm drinking this drink, and if I'm not finished, I can also take it away. So this is very important as well, just not to expect people to give presents or to expect also presents, because sometimes also when you give presents, people might be kind of surprised. I had this story as well with one of my students who were refugees from Ukraine, and they came just to an invitation to a family, and they brought a lot of stuff, like a whole basket with things. And for Germans, it was like, okay, this person is a refugee. They probably spend so much money on that. And how can they afford that? Yeah. And this put the Germans into very awkward situation. So in this case, also a party is something when people are gathering together. A party is something when I bring my own drinks. Sometimes it could be a contribution to a buffet. And this is the present. And when we don't expect anything, that's the cool thing. That's the cool part about that. And usually my students also from different cultures, they were like, oh, how can you not bring any presents? Or we want to give something, or, I need to buy a present for 100 euros because it's in Ukraine, like a thing. The present has to be really, really big. It's not like the present. If you want to do a present for the colleagues, it's always a card or a small thing. If it's a birthday party, it's something around 20 euros. Like 30 is already on my, I would say, on my level we are working and so on. Students usually nothing. And the marriage or the wedding would be something around 30 and 50 euros and not something like huge amount of money. And this is very important.
That's something different for all of us, right? Like as you mentioned, like maybe even in Ukraine, and when for us also from India, it's more like, the bigger the present, the more happy they are, and the status
Yes.
and everything fits in for us. Yeah.
Yes, this is very important. Of course, there are presents, and a lot of people might write comments underneath like, oh no, I'm German and I do presents and so on. But usually the thing is that the present is not the most important thing. And this is what we in our cultures have to understand, because for us, it's one of the most important things. I don't know. I think in India, if you don't come to some house without any, like if you come just without, I don't know, just a buffet snack and a drink, people might just look at you and say, okay, come on, like, what are you doing here?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we also have this thing. I mean, it's a very simple thing to add up, but it shows how much, kind of like we follow this. Even when our neighbors get us some food or drinks, when they make something special, and they get it in a box, and when you have to return the box, we still fill it with something, and then that's like a mandatory thing, and you cannot give it empty, which kind of we think they might feel bad, or like that's
Well,
how.
they're feeling very nice, but it's not that what they are expecting. It's like in our culture, I think it has to be. If you give
Exactly.
something back, you have to give it. But in their culture, it's more, oh, you don't have to. And because you did it, they're like, oh, this is so nice. I usually love to mix the traditions. I take some traditions from German, I take some traditions from Ukraine, and I love to surprise my German friends with those. But it's just also when they don't do it for me, I don't feel offended. I'm not just like, they didn't give me a present or they didn't give me anything in a box. I think this is where the mental switch has to come.
Exactly, yeah. We cannot expect it, like, say for us, this is how it's in our native way and that's how it has to be here, is something wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not how it has to happen. Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess they also Germans, they teach us right from the German language from A1, right? When you're writing letters, they said, bring gute Laune mit, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Genau.
nothing else.
Yeah. Genau. Yeah. Yeah. The same, for example, when my family is also part of my family is here now because of the war. When my mother, when we were confronting with schools, I needed to teach my mom that school here doesn't have any presents. Please, on the 1st of the September, when the school starts, please don't give the child anything. No flowers, no presents for teachers, because teacher feel really awkward. They don't know what to do. Or any other celebrations. Usually in Ukraine, it's a nice thing to show to the teacher, and it has nothing to do with anything. But in Germany, I say, no, please. The child has to go in a normal clothes. It's just first day. It's nothing. No celebration. Please, no presents on any small occasions or big occasions. If the present will be there, all the parents will get together and so on. And we needed to teach, I needed to teach my mom all these things. Now she said, it's so cool. It's just so chill. You don't have to worry about that, because in Ukraine you do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of indirectly puts a little stress, or that expectation leads to a little of stress. And
Exactly.
okay. So now
Okay.
let's roll into the riddles section.
Yes, riddles.
Yeah.
First one is, ich habe Hände, aber ich kann nicht klatschen. Ich habe ein Gesicht, aber keine Augen. Was bin ich?
Mhm. Ich habe Hände, aber ich kann nicht klatschen. Ich habe ein Gesicht, aber ich kann nicht.
Aber kein Augen. Clear
But
as
I
well.
did one somewhere. I just don't know what is it. Okay. Ich habe Hände, aber ich kann nicht
But can
klatschen.
klatschen.
Ich habe ein Gesicht, aber kein Auge. Hände und Gesicht.
So a small clue. This is something you use every day, and sometimes on the wall you see it.
Maybe it's a mirror? I don't know. No. But I don't, no. Weil ich habe keine Augen. Ich sehe, okay, on a wall with the hands.
You also have it on the hand. You wear it on your hand.
Is it a ring? No. Is it a watch? Is it a watch? Okay. Eine Uhr. Ah, okay. Eine Uhr. Ich habe Gesicht. No, ich habe Hände.
Yeah, the needles are the hand.
Hands. That's the glove.
They come together,
Okay.
but I think they don't clutch, right? They don't clap.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they just pass each other. Well, I'm very bad in riddles, so I'm really sorry. Yeah, it's like something that I don't do. Yeah. It's a good. We put it later on my channel, and I can say to people I'm also bad in something, which is riddles.
Okay, so I'll go with the next one. Let's see how this comes out. Yeah. Ich habe Zähne, aber ich kann nicht beißen. Was bin ich?
Okay. Ich habe Zähne. I'm very bad in riddles. I also don't like those actually.
I'm giving you a hint now.
But this is also something that I also know. Like like I did hear those, and I think I should just like go back into my memory and trying to like rethink it. Okay, ich habe Zähne, ich kann nicht beißen.
I can give you a hint.
Yes,
I'm giving you a hint.
Yes, please.
I'm already giving you a hint.
Ah, you're giving me a hint. Oh, could it be the comb? The brush?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Eine Kamm.
Yeah, ein Kamm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to write those down. After that, I'm gonna re-watch the video and I'm gonna write me down.
You can definitely reuse this with your students.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Was sagt ein Krokodil, das einen Clown gefressen hat? Was sagt ein Krokodil, das einen Clown gefressen hat?
Okay. I have no clue. I'm very bad in this. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm good in AI though. Yeah, let's make me points there.
Okay, schmeckt irgendwie komisch.
Ah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. So this one is
Last
the
one.
last one, which should it's a
Oh,
little
I think my
easier.
points are 0, so I can only go to -0.
So let's try this. This is a little bit easier one, a little more funnier one. So
You think so? I don't think that it's easier, but okay.
okay. Welches sind die teuersten Tomaten?
Welche sind die teuersten Tomaten?
Hint. You want a hint?
Sure.
Something to do with money. Like where you get your money.
Yeah, well, Bankautomaten. Automaten?
Yes.
Okay. That's a cool Wortspiel, yeah? So, Tomaten, Automaten.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's give me a half of the point there.
Yes, you get half of it.
Okay, that was good.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the rapid fire questions here. Okay. What one habit helped you integrate faster in German society?
Into society or into language?
Generally, your stay in German to integrate it good to the society, I would say, not language.
One habit.
Yeah.
I would say reading. Reading 15 minutes every day. It helped me to, first of all, it helped me a lot with my vocabulary. It helped me a lot with cultural stuff and understanding. I was also reading a lot of novels. I was reading different stuff during all these years. And it helped me as well to get my feeling of language on a very different level. And reading is also reading, for example, in the morning or in the evening reading some news is very important, because Germany and Germans are a very political active society, in terms of they are not going every time to some demos and doing stuff, but they all learn from a very beginning that they have to be politically aware, and they read a lot of things. I always say as well, a typical morning which I got to know from my German friends who were also older men or older women, it's in the morning they have their coffee and they read their papers about what's going on in the world. And I think this is one of the most important things, to inform yourself, to read, to inform, because also a lot of people, when they go to work, they say, I don't have connections with my colleagues. And these connections are also sometimes because people speak about what's going on in the world. And in Ukraine, we don't have this tradition. We don't have a tradition, for example, to be politically involved. Now we do because of the war. But usually when I was small, the news, no one was watching the news. In Germany, it's really vice versa. They are really very politically aware what's going on in the world. And this is very good. If you want to keep up, with talks and with different small talks during work or during studies, during breaks, it's very good if you inform yourself and read.
That's nice. So, you want to ask the next one?
Yes. ChatGPT for homework, smart or lazy?
It depends how you put it. If you use it in a way that I use it, then it's smart. If you use it in a way to get just the exercise done, then it's dumb.
Okay. One piece of advice in 3 words for internationals in Germany.
3 words.
You don't have to really make it 3 words, but one piece of advice.
Yeah, I cannot put it in 3 words. Maybe the one is get out of your comfort zone, and it is always taken longer than we think to get to the level or to get to the integration, but it's worth it.
Your favorite book or way to learn German for beginners? I mean, you have made obviously a lot of videos, but this is just rapid fire.
My favorite book, just for leisure reading or for teaching?
Generally, in learning the language.
I would say it's a very nice one. I had as well some videos on books, but I usually say the best book is the one that you understand how to work with it. For example, if you are a self-learner, you have to make time to go to the bookstore, to open a book and to look, do I understand what this book wants from me? Do I understand what I have to do in this book? For example, this is the part of the workbook, and this is the part of the Kursbuch, and this is the part of the Arbeitsbuch. Do I know when I have to switch to Arbeitsbuch? Do I see that? Do I like the photos in this book? So this is the way of the best picking strategy for books, because there are a lot of books and they're all good. They're Cornelsen, they are Huber, we have also different possibilities. But if I don't like the book and if I don't understand the book, it doesn't bring me further. This is if I learn alone. Of course, if I have a school, the school gives me the book and the teacher gives me the structure. But if I want to learn alone, I need to go and check what I like, what topics I like, what maybe even, I don't know, how pages are feeling. This is very important. This is also this stuff that a lot of people don't think about. They just take a book and then they say, oh, I don't have any motivation. But sometimes it's just because the book is not motivating. The book is just, or you don't understand the book. So the best way is just to go to search for the book. If it's a book for learning, then you have to decide. For example, grammar, you go and look for search for grammar book. If it's a book for C1 or B2, go to different C1, B2 books, open those and look. If it's a novel that you want to read, you also go there. You open a book, you read the first page and you see if you understand, you like it or not. And if you understand 70% without translation. If you don't understand in every single word you have to translate, it's not a good book.
Brilliant advice. And I guess the best place that I love is Thalia.
Yes.
Because I like how they have put how they keep their books. Even there are a lot of categories, but I always go to the German specific category to see if something new is there from Langenscheidt or something from
Yes.
Pons, right? All this, yeah, and sometimes there are some, random book which you check and you like it. So I definitely like your advice. The best book is the book that you enjoy, or
Yeah.
good one.
Okay. So, what's one thing that's considered rude in a German dining table that many of the internationals might not realize or don't know?
Phone on a table. Very rude. If it's a time between us, then it's a time for connection and for social connection. And I think this is what a lot of people don't understand. In general, a phone and the ringing phone. If we made a time with each other and we say we go for a coffee or something, and then someone just constantly call me, or I'm constantly just on my phone and like, oh, let me check, yeah, you talk something, you said something. A lot of people don't understand it or underestimate it, because in Ukraine, again, as a small referral, it's a normal to have your phone just on your table when it's there. In Germany, and with my German colleagues, my phone is never on my table.
Yeah, that's, I think, something kind of shows the respect as well, which we give to the other person. The time, what they give for us is respected. Yeah, that's one way of showing that. Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
just the ringing phone when we have, let's say, a small dinner, and then someone just have his phone like ringing very loud and like says like, oh, hello, I'm calling you back. For example, even this makes me. This is also just my thing. Just like to pick up to say that I'm gonna call back. This is something that is really really not nice. Yeah, yeah, genau.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
okay, so that was end of all the rounds. We finally to the Pommes question, because our podcast is the Pommes box.
Thank you.
Hope
Those
you
were
like
fun.
pommes.
Not like pommes in terms of I just don't eat fast food too much.
Okay.
I don't know why, but also back in Ukraine, my thing was I just don't like. I do eat it,
Mhm.
and I have, for example, let's say if it's a burger, it has to be with pommes. So this is a rule. But I cannot just say like that I'm like addicted to it. But I do like
Okay.
it when it's made nice. Okay.
So, if your integration journey in Germany were a type of pommes, okay, so how will you define it? Is it a classic pommes
Oh,
or
okay.
spicy one or mixed?
It's a cool question. I would be the pommes which is with the Schale. Like there is this type of potato that is not peeled. So
Okay, okay.
I'll be that type of potato. Not peeled fried pommes.
Because you mean to say the raw version, like the wedges,
I
like
didn't get you.
mahum with shala?
I just love it. I think it's more delicious. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it's just my personal one. And also probably for me, because I'm a rough person. I'm very open and I very enjoy speaking to people. I'm also in some things very nice, but also in some other parts I could be rough. I could be, yeah, it's like it's more for me, it's more rough.
Okay.
Like the peeled one, it's like
Yes, it's
it's
modified.
prepared. Exactly. And the other one is rough. And sometimes I think I have this very interesting skill when I look into the class or at my colleagues and they say, oh, we get scared. Yes, like or we have this pressure that we need to achieve something or to do something. So I think this is kind of me. I'm very open, but also sometimes I'm rough.
good.
Okay, that was nice. So, I think
So,
that's
yeah, that's a wrap. But like, just to put everything into perspective, if I'm asking you, what's your final thought that you want to give about the life in Germany, right? From zero to the number of years that you're going to live. So, how can you like just summarize in like under 1 minute? What's your final thought about the life in Germany?
I would say that Germany gives the chance to the ones who are willing to work hard. And Germany is a country with a lot of possibilities. But to know those possibilities, you have to know the country. It is a very specific culture. It is a good culture with advantages and disadvantages, and everyone can decide what he or she takes and if they are okay with these advantages and disadvantages. I know Germany very well to know that I like Germany and love Germany. And I think there are a lot of things here that we can learn from. And the thing is only for everyone who is international and wants to integrate into society, we can, if it's hard, we can think and refer a bit about our country. How the integration would look like in my country, because also in Ukraine and I'm sure in India, it's not very simple to integrate into the society, also with the documents, also with work and everything. And if I am not putting effort into it, it will be also almost impossible. I think in India, if you are not a good qualified person and if you don't speak English, no one will offer you a job. The same thing in Germany. If it gets hard, we can first of all maybe just think about perspective. Okay, my country is also tough. And if it gets hard, just to know it gets hard for everyone. Everyone has its own hardness. And I like to also listen to different podcasts. I love Cody Sanchez. She speaks in English and about English words, but she has a very good quote. And the quote is, it is hard. It is hard to be smart and it's hard to be stupid, because if it's smart, you need to learn, you need to put time, you need to put attention, you actually have to have time. It's also hard to be dumb in Germany because you don't understand people, you don't like yourself, it's really hard to get a job and you don't get a job that you like. So you can pick your heart. So this is my last thought is about pick your heart.
Brilliant. I mean, yes, you totally nailed this one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, thank you so much, Darina, for coming to our podcast, and it was really so interesting to speak with you. That was very insightful episode for us, and I believe it's also for our audience here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well for having me. I really feel honored, and I'm really hoping that my story, my information will help each other. And I do hope that we also keep in touch, and I'm always happy to attend again.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, and our
Thank you.
pleasure for having you here.